Good morning. What's wrong with Chairman Mike not turned down? Good morning, everybody. We have a sign-up sheet on the table for anybody would like to speak to the second bill we hear today, House Bill 401. The first bill we've had it in committee twice. We're not taking any further testimony on that. We're just going to hear from the author this morning. We got two minutes and we'll get started. But if anybody wants to speak to the second measure, 401. They can come sign up at the table. Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Did you straighten it up, man?
I'm just a squirrel.
Wow, we knew that. Tell us something new.
Trying to get in where I fit in. I'm on the struggle bus. Hey, Miss Doe.
It is now 9 o'clock. We will go ahead and start. I'm going to ask Representative Vance Smith if he'll open prayer this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lord, we do thank you for another great day. Get us off on the right foot, Lord. Help us to come to you and ask for your will, not ours, and ask for your guidance. Grant us wisdom. Be with our families that aren't here. Keep them safe. And thank you for the many blessings. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, this time we have two bills on the agenda this morning. We're going to start with House Bill 348. Chairman Jay Collins, I asked him to come to the table and tell us about his bill.
Thank you, Mr. for letting me come back and present this bill one more again. House Bill 348 deals with a very important issue at
Just
school.
pull that microphone closer.
One, two. House Bill 348 deals with a very important issue at school safety. There's been a lot of discussion about the need for this bill and the reason why this bill is back in front of the committee. I was approached by several individuals, used car dealers, over the course of about a year or so, dealing with these civil monetary penalties that local governments are placing on violators who choose to speed through a school zone. And so I approached it as we needed to clean up the language, because if someone was receiving a civil monetary penalty, it was a title hold. When people were transferring or selling those cars, the individual that was purchasing those cars had to pay the civil monetary penalty and before they could take possession of the car. So that was the first reason why I wanted to bring some legislation. And then when you get to looking at the legislation, the way the statute was written, it was set up for some abuses, what I would call abuses, by some of these agencies who are operating these cameras. Again, the main reason for this legislation when it was initiated was to slow vehicles down that are traveling through a school zone. So what I looked at the bill, I wanted to clean up some of the language that was allowing these automatic camera devices to initiate these penalties. So what I've done in this bill, with the help of the greatest legislative counsel in the history of the world, Jenna Dole, we have rewritten this bill time and time and time again.
I agree with you.
And she's been very patient. She's been very patient with me and been open to a lot of discussion and dialogue. So I just want to thank her from that. But what we're doing here is, we're saying that if you're going to issue a ticket, a civil monetary penalty with one of these speeding cameras in a school zone, that the lights have to be flashing, that you can only do that for 30 minutes, 30-minute window before school starts, 30 minutes after the beginning of the bell, 30 minutes prior to school dismissing, and 30 minutes after school is dismissed. In kind of following with what my friend Representative Ridley had in mind, we're capping the fees associated with these civil monetary penalties. So the civil monetary penalty fee is set in legislation, but we've also capping exactly how much these admin fees can be added on to these civil monetary penalties. So we don't want to see, runaway admin fees when someone is issued a civil monetary penalty. We also cleaned up the portion of the legislation that puts a hold on the title, so that's no longer in the legislation. We're putting the burden on issuing the warning to the local government. So you get a civil monetary penalty, you get a notice sent out no later than 30 days that you have to pay the civil monetary penalty, or your registration is going to be suspended. After the 30 days it goes away, there's a second notice that is placed out there that says, hey, DOR, Department of Revenue, is going to suspend your registration. And also in the bill, there's language codified that forces these companies to pull from the DOR database. And I wanted to do that specifically because they have the most up-to-date and accurate database with registration, with addresses and those types of things. So there's a caveat in here also I'd like to point out, that if a school is bisected by a county or city street, where you have typically, in my district, we have one campus that has the majority of the campus on one side of the city street. On the other side of the street, they have athletic fields, they have parking. So all during school days, you will have potentially students traveling back and forth. So it allows the traffic camera lights and the traffic camera to be utilized during the entire day. So there are some backstops and some caveats there that do allow for some flexibility where it is needed. So Mr. Chairman, that's pretty much the bill. I think the committee is pretty educated about this. One thing that it does do that I want to point out, I know there was some pushback at the last hearing, but it does remove the local school system from the permitting process. And one of the reasons why I felt that was important, the school system has no jurisdiction outside of its building. Even a school system that has a police force, they have no jurisdiction, no ability to regulate the flow of traffic, impede the flow of traffic, or issue any monetary penalties or tickets outside of their campus. So we've heard testimony, and some compelling testimony, that there are safety issues around some of these schools, and local governments are begging to be able to put these devices in to take care of the speeding problem during those school times, and the school board's not cooperating. So I struck that portion. I know that's a sticking point with some of you, and if it's the will of the committee to remove that, I don't want to stand in the way of this bill moving forward. That's not something I want to die on a hill on. So if it's the will of the committee to remove that, I don't want to do that, but I don't want the bill to die either, because there are a lot of people that need this legislation to move forward.
All right. At this time, we do have a couple questions. Number 16, Representative Kennard.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That was the question I was going to bring up. I know specifically Representative Ridley took issue with the school not being involved in the process.
Right.
So there hasn't been a compromise reached on that? It's one or the other?
It's one of those things. I mean, I'm not going to support that, but I don't want to stand in the way of the bill moving forward. I still say that if you have one entity that is applying for that permit, I'd like to have one person be responsible for that, not necessarily two. And if a school, I don't know why a school system wouldn't want that. I mean, it's, and the way that we're cleaning it up and tightening down the language, we're going to prevent so much abuse that's been going on, in my opinion. So I don't see that it'll be a massive expansion if you eliminate the school system having to be a part of the permitting process.
But as it sits now, the school is involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Number 19, Representative McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess, just to follow up to Representative Kennedy, I spoke with our superintendent earlier this week, and
Right.
he felt that it should be some kind of way that they should work together. I mean, we don't have that problem in Gwinnett because almost all of our schools do have flashing lights. But I'm just concerned that it's a money grab. Well, I shouldn't say a money grab. Yes, a money grab with the agencies. I didn't want a money grab with the agencies and a money grab with the, I guess, the companies who's putting those cameras in.
Well, money is and to my friend from Gwinnett
Money
County,
grab.
to my friend from Gwinnett County, I mean, money has to be an issue with a program like this because it does take resources to install a system like this. And once you install it, I mean, there are ongoing costs. I mean, you have technology, I have technology. Things mess up, things happen, you know. So money has to be a factor. Money doesn't have to be the motivating factor for this. Money is not the motivating factor for this legislation. The fact that we want to protect, I want to protect the program because I think it's a good program. Slowing people down in these school zones and being transparent that, hey, there's a warning sign, there's flashing lights. You know, I think that does twofold. I think that it brings more attention to the fact that, you know, you need to slow down, you're approaching a school zone, and if you don't, we're going to take your picture and we're going to fine you, and you're going to learn that you need to slow down during this time. Not all day, it's just during that hour window. And I think it'll make our school zones more safe. But I think it's unfortunate that there is those money issues coming into play, and you got local governments that are fighting over that. But at the end of the day, to my friend, the local governing authority is the one who is responsible for the safety of those pedestrians and those families that are in those vehicles in front of those schools. It's not the school system.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Number 4, Chairman Prince.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Collins, I appreciate you bringing this bill. And, you know, as I look at this and I start listening, I look at my good friend from Athens over there, Chairman Wiedauer. This is only pertaining to in and around K through 12
That's correct.
schools.
That's correct.
Not colleges or anything like that.
No.
And my concern was just, I mean, is this something that we may need to expand to that level? Just something else to think about. And the other thing was, I know you're here in front of our motor vehicles. This almost sounds like something that should have been in your committee in public safety. But
Quite frankly, I'm glad it was not in public safety. I look around this room here, and I have the utmost faith in this deliberative body to make the right call here.
Number 23.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just, I want to make a comment. I think we've talked about this a good bit. I think it's got some good points. I think it's trying to help the safety of the children, which is paramount to all of us. And it's also out here to make sure law enforcement does their job. And it's going to help, you know, with the folks with the registration. And I just feel like at the proper time, we need to go ahead and make a motion that we pass this bill as written.
Bless your heart.
Hold that thought. We got one more question. Number 16, Representative Kennard.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Chairman Collins, I love the bill. Very concerned about our schools and our students being safe. At the proper time, I would like to make a motion to amend to take that strike out of the school. I think it should be a collaborative process with the school.
Okay. Yes. We got another question. Representative Vance Smith.
If you're in a school, you're talking about 30 minutes before school time and 30 minutes after.
Right.
And if you're in a county and say you have 3 or 4 different schools, do all those schools have the same start time, or they have different start time?
Different start times.
And who sets that time limit? Does the school have any interaction in setting,
Well,
telling everybody what the time limit is?
I can't speak to all school systems, but say like in my district, my little girl has to be at school, you know, between 7:10 and 7:40. Okay, so you can start dropping off at 7:10, and at 7:40 you're late. Well, you go down the street and you've got the middle school, and I think there's like 8:20 or so, and that's to help the bus system. So the cameras will be obviously overlapping there with operation, but I guess the latest time for a school would be a high school, and their camera would extend on 30 minutes later. So you're going to have a window there of time when each school zone will have, you know, a different time of its operation.
And,
And-
thank you,
and-
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry.
So, who determines that? The law enforcement? Are they gonna be able to keep up with that? How do they keep up with that, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Well,
They,
in the legislation, it's 30 minutes,
I know, but
30 minutes.
but they're gonna have different zones, different
Yes,
schools,
because
and
the
different times.
start time is different. And it's done that way because you don't want to have it's just that time when school is coming in and dismissing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I think the posture we're in now, we have a motion for the bill. We need a second. Got a motion, a second. We've got a motion for an amendment to strike Representative Kennard. Do we have a second on the amendment? So we got a motion, and a second on the amendment. So we will vote on the amendment first. Any further discussion? And that's on line 99. State your amendment again.
I move that we amend lines 98 and 99 to unstrike the phrase "each school within whose school zone such" and keep that in the bill.
Okay, all right, we have a motion, and a second to
Do we still you want them in conjunction, or are we taking out the strike as well? Basically revert it to current law, or do you want
Revert it to current law.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why she's
Everybody
the best.
understand the amendment?
That's why she's the best.
That's why she's the best, that's right. Okay, any further discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right, we're gonna have to divide the question. All right, everybody in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, like sign. 5-4. So the amendment passes. So- I can vote to tie it. I can't break the tie, but I can vote to tie it. But anyway, now we'll vote on the bill as amended. All in favor of the bill? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign?
Okay.
Have the bill, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
I will.
I appreciate the committee's time, and thank you for letting this bill move forward.
Isn't that right? I can't vote to do a tie. No? I couldn't, I didn't think I could vote to break a tie.
If you feel different,
Yes, yeah, hold on, we do have one more bill to have a hearing only, nobody leave, I'm sorry. Yeah, we do have one other bill, House Bill 401, Representative McLean.
Member of the committee.
All right, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, and the members of the committee, I want to thank you all very much. House Bill 401, LC 393649 is a bill that I dropped last year as well, and I do want to make sure that you all understand that I dropped it because it was brought to me by one of my interns, and I want to make sure. But the person that's my second signer, my co-signer, is Representative Gladney, who is the Director of Motor Vehicles and Registration in Augusta. So I'm going to let her present this bill because, again, if there are some questions, I know that I'll be happy to help her. But I do want you all to realize that for the past 10 years, this has been a job that she's had in Augusta in motor vehicles. So, and with that in mind, Mr. Chairman, thank you all.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I present HB 401, LC 393649, which amends Part 4 of Article 13 of Chapter 6 of Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia, requiring operators of a moped upon the highways in this state to be insured. Currently, the law does not require mopeds be registered or insured in order to verify the financial responsibility consistent with current motor vehicle requirements. And at this time, I yield the floor to my colleague and bill sponsor, Representative McLean of the 109th.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I know there's someone who signed up for this bill.
We do have one person. Do we have any questions? Right.
I'm opening you all up for questions because, again, I want you all to realize this is very important.
With the mopeds, so they're not required to have a tag. No, the DORs is here. Would y'all like to speak to the bill at all?
I'll have to check.
Sir?
I'll have to check, but not right now.
Okay.
Questions from the committee? Because, again, like I said, what we've got to do is we just got to quit kicking this down the road. In fact, if you all saw yesterday's paper, when I opened it up, the first thing I saw was, deadly moped crash, closes 285 near East Ponce de Leon. It didn't say motorcycle, it said moped. So what we've got to try to do is make sure that these mopeds can carry some kind of insurance if they own the highways and roads.
I don't see any questions. We do have one person signed up to speak to the mayor. If he'll come to the podium and state his name and who he's with.
Good morning. My name is Micah Richards, and I'm from Stone Mountain, Georgia. I was a legislative aide for state representatives Dewey McLean, Derek Jackson, Kim Schofield, Doreen Carter, and Senator Harold Jones Jr. Currently, I work for the House Minority Caucus under Leader James Beverly. I want to thank the legislators and the faithful citizens of the great state of Georgia for allowing me to have the opportunity to share my experiences that provide the purpose of House Bill 401. In December 2019, I stopped at a red light at the intersection of Memorial Drive and North Harrison Road in DeKalb County. Then, boom, a moped slammed into the back of my Volvo, which caused a significant amount of damage to my car. And I do have the picture of the car on the scene. I called 911 for the police and paramedics to arrive on the scene. The first responders made sure the lady riding the moped was well. All the witnesses said the moped was at fault. While the police officer was doing her job to handle the scene, I requested for the moped rider's insurance information to cover the damages to my car. The officer notified me that in the state of Georgia, moped owners do not have to have insurance. My insurance company covered the damages to my car after I paid my deductible, and my insurance company was not able to go after the moped owner insurance because she did not have insurance on the moped, nor did she have insurance on a car because she did not own a car. I contacted and submitted a memo to the Honorable McLean to sponsor a bill to require mopeds to be covered by a form of minimum financial responsibility for accident damages because our state does not have adequate laws in place to hold riders of mopeds accountable when they cause accidents. Furthermore, moped owners can walk away from the scene without any liability. According to the current law, mopeds cannot ride on highways and streets where the speed limit is 35 miles per hour and above. Therefore, the rider was not supposed to be on this street because Memorial Drive speed limit is 45 miles per hour. All motor vehicles should have insurance in case of an accident. 25 out of 50 states require mopeds to have insurance. Insurance rates are increasing because of uninsured drivers and riders who are causing accidents. This bill will protect victims from the financial burden of the accident and improve insurance rates. The benefit of this will bring net new revenue to the state of Georgia from moped owners. I will appreciate your serious consideration of passing this bill to protect our citizens of Georgia. Thank you.
All right, we do have a question, number 25.
At the proper time, do motion.
Well, this is hearing only.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, well,
I'm ready.
number 23.
Yeah, I'm just curious, age 15, under 15 years of age, I thought we had to be 16 to be a licensed driver. On line number 11, it says no person under 15.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna leave that to because it's already codified, this is already law,
Yeah.
so I don't,
Well, can someone just 15 years old drive a moped and be insured for liability? Or?
According to this current law, looks like they can.
You need a construction permit. You can get a permit, construction permit.
So that makes them a legal driver in this certain boundaries of the. Well, dog, I wish I'd have known that when I was 15.
Number 4, Chairman Prince.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But I think that what Representative Mathis opens up here is something that I think we really need to think about, because this is current law. Is that correct? If this is current law, 15 years of age, you can drive, but you must have an instructional permit and a licensed driver in the vehicle with you. Now, we're talking about a moped here. I'm not sure if it's a licensed person going to get on the back of a moped.
Yeah, but
this-
should somebody 15 be on a even a street rated 35 mile an hour?
Yeah, so I don't know. This is something that I think we, or maybe motor vehicles, or I'm not sure, public safety needs to sort of study to see what, where we are in this. But that's just a comment, though. Thank you.
Is there anybody here with an insurance company who would like to speak to this matter? I'd be curious to hear from somebody that represents insurance. And then that might be something we can look into. But like I said, this was hearing only.
Mr. Chairman, can I make it?
Yes.
Please, sir. So there are some current studies abroad that suggest that due to the number of drivers on the roadways, that the likelihood of bodily injury to those on or in mopeds that are involved in accidents, individuals that are involved as an operator incur more personal injury, and liability coverage should be at a minimum standard as required by all other drivers. And perhaps there should be some additional studies that would involve the insurance agencies and perhaps public safety.
That's what we'll look into. I don't see any further questions. Thank you for bringing the measure. You like to say anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I would like just information from the committee. Where can we go next? Because again, it's something that happened in 2019, and we just keep moving this down the road. And I just want to see if there's something that we can do to make this happen, or either to make folks aware of what we're trying to do with insurance for mopeds.
Well, like I said, I appreciate you bringing the bill, and we can talk further offline. And like I said, I'd love to have somebody from insurance in on this discussion as well to see what their input would be to this conversation. So let's have that conversation with them, and we'll see how do we want to proceed from there. So
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee.
thank you. We have no other matters. The meeting is adjourned. Thank everybody for coming.